All
Good to
right,
go.
folks, here we go. Thank you. Welcome, February 2026 already. Ask us anything. We got JB and JC in the house. We are your FFL consultants, providing expert guidance, support, and expertise regarding everything firearms to FFLs across the nation. There's our information. We'll have this up at the end in case you're new. We also have this contact information at the end of the event. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to run through SHOT Show, what we learned, what we heard, what we can share with you. We had some great meetings and we're privy to some great presentations. Our legal updates today is going to be long and strenuous. There is so much going on around the country, both in effective statutes that have been signed into law and proposed statutes. As we go through those, we're going to run through at a very high level, just so you know something's happening in your state or a neighboring state, or maybe a state you ship to or sell to. So pay attention there. A lot going on. A little bit on compliance corner. We're going to play true and false. We're going to give you a very good overview and update on our brand new launch of our FFL Consultants website. Very exciting about that. And our Ask Us Anything FAQ. For anybody new, just so you know, at the end, we'll have our Ask Us Anything rapid fire Q&A session. And throughout our event presentation, please just type your questions into the chat room at the bottom of your screen there on the control bar of the Zoom. Into the chat room, just type your questions as we go. We'll get to those in order at the end of our presentation. We'll try to get answers for everyone. You can't get free answers anywhere else in America. You can get them right here on our Ask Us Anything. All right, but first, oh my God, it's a hoax, JC.
Oh my goodness. I can't even believe that somebody
Yeah.
thought that they were going to do something here.
I don't know, about 30 or 40 of you have been texting and emailing us all day. Thank you, Alex. Thanks you, Don. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Angela, and everybody else who's clogged our phones up all morning with this. Yes, it's a hoax. ATF has publicly announced this as a hoax. Department of Homeland Security has not implemented any new regulations or directives affecting your constitutional rights to be firearms dealers or possess firearms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was very professionally written, I will say.
They did a good job. No misspellings, no, weird capitals and weird places.
Yeah, they even had a USC statute up there, 18 USC. It was I don't know, convincing, I guess, to some folks.
Yeah.
Hopefully, no one has been met by a DHS officer or ICE officer at their front door. Um, if you have, do not relinquish your firearms.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, that's a hoax. Just moving on real fast. JC and I, yes, we did attend SHOT Show a couple weeks ago, had some great meetings. JC, why don't we kick it off with our ATF meeting here?
Sure, absolutely. So, had a meeting Monday. First thing Monday, actually, I think it was, right, JB? We had to get up early for that meeting. Thing with most of the, I'll say, firearms industry focused executives. There are a ton of executives in ATF headquarters, but we met with those that are really industry centric, that are like FIPB and those folks, Fat D, a couple of the attorneys, etc. All executives, all branch chiefs, etc., up at the headquarters of the ATF. Really great meeting. Very open, very friendly. They actually made a comment that we kind of set the bar for them for the rest of the meetings. I think we were probably, if not the first, one of the first couple of meetings that they had that day because we started so early. Just, giving us updates on what to expect, and much of what to expect and a lot of content is going to be driven, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, by Robert Cekada's nomination and confirmation for the director role at the ATF. I'll get into the confirmation hearing and everything here in a little bit, but some of the other changes that you all have probably noticed is the eForms platform is a lot faster. Granted, there are still some glitches here and there, and they're working on it, but it definitely has shown improvement. They're also improving their ATF.gov website, And with that comes a number of different changes. They're hoping to make it easier to facilitate knowledge and provide you information as FFLs. With the eForms platform updates, the goal, and we met with James Van, and he's one of the deputy assistant directors, is primarily the one focused on all of these changes that are going on, as far as especially the eForms platform, is everything will eventually be in eForms. Your SOT, the initial application, the renewal of your SOT, initial application of your FFL, renewals of FFL, all those things will be going through the eForms platform. There will no longer be any paperwork or anything like that. They're really going to try to drive people to moving to electronic. So that way there's no more mailing and all this other nonsense that goes on, that, things get lost in the mail or get held up or whatever the case may be. So that's really a big focus right now, and one that's very active. Many of you probably noticed that the eForms platform included a new Form 4 for non-licensee transfers. That's two individuals that are non-FFLs. Somebody's got a NFA firearm and they want to sell it to another party. Depending on your state, that may be allowed, and they can orchestrate all of that themselves through the eForms platform. Now, granted, fingerprints, photographs, all that stuff may still be required, and they'll need to meet those obligations. And there is, as FFL, still that opportunity to maybe offer this as a service offering through your shops. So if you haven't noticed, we've actually seen quite the significant uptick as far as the NFA firearm resale market. We're getting a ton of phone calls from FFLs all over the country, where people, are wanting to sell their SBR, SBS, their silencers, etc. With the reduced tax to $0, a lot of that is happening. One of the things that we actually are putting out there, or have put out there in the last month or so, is this is a great time for those individuals who may have purchased NFA firearms off the trust. In other words, they purchased a NFA firearm but didn't put it in the trust. They put it in their own name. This is a great time for them, because of the $0 tax, to go ahead and move those NFA firearms into the trust. It's $0 now. Before, it would be $200 an item. So you may see opportunities for this, and you may get asked questions. So yes, that is an opportunity. It would be a Form 4 to that trust. And again, facilitate it. You can do the fingerprints and the photographs and such, or you can help them fill out the Form 4, whatever the case may be. We did talk a little bit about the diversion and trafficking and how we can better support them as our community is concerned. And, the atypical awareness, 243s, the 50 cals, the common ammunition that's needed down there in Mexico. They're very concerned with, especially that 50 cal BMGs and such. That's a big interest of the cartels. The other thing that we have is down in South Florida, even throughout the Southeast now, diversion and trafficking to the Caribbean. So be on the lookout for that. They just asked for you all to be on the lookout, report those suspicions to your local ATF field divisions, the criminal enforcement side, to give them a heads up, let them know. Always remember, you're the first line of defense as it relates to public safety and firearms. So as far as the new Form 4473, as I had mentioned, Rob Cekada went through his confirmation hearing. We'll talk more about that later, but we anticipate, once he is official and the actual director of the ATF, then we are going to see a pretty significant flow of information and Federal Register communications about form changes and things of that nature. So we're hopeful that it's between the rest of this month and March when that all gets finalized. And once we know he's the director, then we're going to start putting out communications that, this form has hit the Federal Register. And the one thing that they asked with that, as it relates to that, is essentially ensure that, number one, you're giving thorough, thought out remarks and responses to these forms that are coming down. And we told them, where we can, we will attempt to work with our community to pull together that information, to provide it in one meaningful response rather than 50,000 responses coming from 50,000 FFLs. So that way they can weed out the noise, the, abolish the ATF responses and nonsense like that, and get down to the true meaningful responses so they can take those things into consideration. Just keep in mind one thing. As these are deployed, they're going into the Federal Register. They're given 60 days for responses. So that doesn't mean when the new Form 4473 hits, you have to start using it right away. There will be a grace period, especially if you're utilizing like a fastbound or any of the other E4473 solutions out there. They're going to give them a little bit of time in order to get that document electronified, put into their system. I think I just made up a word. But they're going to give them about 120 days to get the new forms into their systems, tested, etc. So that grace period, if you're on paper still, you'll be able to immediately start using them, whatever the case may be. And there will be a drop dead date. So that means the drop dead date means you must start using that form going forward. So a lot of discussion at the meeting. It was a great meeting with ATF.
The funniest thing about the meeting was the fact we asked how are they going to communicate all of this, and they looked at us like, "Can you guys help us communicate it?" Because they actually don't have an avenue or channel currently. They're not budgeted. There's the word for the actual communication that you would expect with all of these changes, which is kind of interesting. Other than Facebook posts, we can't confirm that there's going to what type of official communication on any of these changes, updates, or progressive moves and activities will be coming. So we'll do our best to get that information and put it out to you guys when we can. So that was funny. That was good. All right. Hey, the next great thing about going to SHOT Show, honestly, for me, aside from all the fun guns you can look at and talk to vendors about, is Todd Blanche and David Warrington. Todd is these guys are great, and I'm just going to tell you in a minute who they are. They're the guy on the right, David Warrington, is Whitehouse Counsel, literally counsel to the president, Donald Trump. And then Todd Blanche is the Deputy Attorney General. Deputy Attorney General to Pam Bondi. So he's number 2 as far as DOJ is concerned. And then we had also Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, who works for Todd. You may have seen her. She was also very public during the Trump campaigns and on Fox News, but she's the Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Civil Rights Division. But most interestingly, she, for the first time in charge of that division, has created a Second Amendment section under civil rights, because a civil right, constitutional right, is to the Second Amendment. So she is actually proactive as a member of the Department of Justice, fighting for the rights of gun owners and the industry, and everywhere she can, along with everything else that falls into civil rights under her. And then overall, this was absolutely, by far for me anyway, the best White House administration showing at SHOT Show ever. I've been going for about a dozen years. Larry Keene from NSSF agreed. They've never had the cabinet presence like they have this year from any administration in the past, showing their support for the Second Amendment, not only for the gun owners, but for the industry as well. A couple of comments from Todd, who, again, Assistant Attorney General. These just snippets I pulled from his presentation. The ATF is no longer a gun control program, period. There was a massive ongoing shift in how DOJ is defending the Second Amendment. Their focus is to be fair, predictable, and consistent. Very interestingly, after talking about many different issues on the table, quote unquote, he very, very casually and confidently said the best is yet to come for the industry, for the FFLs, for the gun owners. The best is yet to come, without really getting to the detail of what that means, being very ambiguous in some of the conversation and topics we were talking about. All activities will be consistent with the Gun Control Act of 1968. What he meant by that was in relation to a conversation regarding the Biden Zero Tolerance Act, whereas there will be action before Trump is out of office to hopefully get Congress to put some issues in place that will prevent any any administration in the future from ad hocing the Second Amendment and the Gun Control Act or the NFA Act. So very reassuring, very positive, very supportive. I left there very excited about where this DOJ is going under Trump and Pam Bondi. Rob Leiter, JC, you want to take Rob Leiter?
Sure. So Rob Leiter is the general counsel for ATF. He's an academic, very, very intelligent. Um, he is a staunch Second Amendment supporter, very much knows the laws inside and out, and is doing all that he can in his role to basically turn things around as far as a potential for a future of zero tolerance. He's attempting to change things internally from where the ATF is concerned. Um, in order to prevent the possibility, or at least make it very challenging for ATF in the future to move back to that zero tolerance landscape. So he's making end runs. He's the one behind the new 4473 and a lot of those changes and such. Very interesting gentleman. Very knowledgeable. Has great insight as far as you know what's going on as far as the industry and what they're trying to do internally to support the industry. So he is really looking at a number of different things. And again, a lot of this is in motion. Granted, it's in slow motion a little bit because it is government. And a lot of it is contingent on Rob Cekada becoming the director as well. So some of the things that he talked about is really a strong focus as to what's going on in a variety of different states, as far as states standing up their own laws and rules, regulating and governing the firearms industry. Excuse me, as we see here in Colorado, New Mexico, and a number of other states. He's addressing that. He's taking a look at how, he can somehow thwart some of those activities. Um, he wanted to let everybody know things like the document retention. He's looking at all these little nuances where you have to retain all these documents for an inordinate amount of time or forever in most cases. So he's looking at all these nuances to make a determination as to whether or not the requirements that have been pushed down align with either the Gun Control Act, U.S. Code, or the National Firearms Act. Um, the NFA, there was a lot of questions on the NFA during the town hall, and he took the stage and kind of gave some insight. NFA is not a DOJ issue. The decision lies with Congress. The questions were wrapped around, well, if it's a $0 tax, why are we having to still register firearms and such? That's because it's part of the National Firearms Act that was put forward by Congress and signed into law. So, he doesn't have any control over that at the ATF or even at the DOJ level. They have to revise the law. So, and a lot of what was done was simply around tax. That's what it was about. It was about tax, which is a completely different area than the ATF and DOJ. They have to do certain things to even access NFA information. So he has a very good understanding of the fact that mailing of firearms is extremely confusing, and he's taken a look at that. And actually, I had a meeting back in, geez, what was it? I think it was September or October, JB, up at ATF headquarters in DC. And even then, Rob and I were having a pretty in-depth conversation around the mailability of firearms and the tough restrictions around that with FedEx and UPS, and the fact that even mailing a firearm through the United States Postal Service is a challenge. And not only a challenge just because of the restrictions involving that, but also the fact that you have to educate the clerk at the counter as to whether or not you can mail a firearm. So he's looking at all those things. They're conducting a very in-depth internal review of all processes, and trying to figure out ways that they can better support the industry and make life a little bit easier for us. And again, he has a very strong focus on combating state level restrictions and regulations, and how or whether or not that impedes the Second Amendment. So we've got a great guy on our side, very educated, very knowledgeable. Stay tuned this year, especially once Rob gets confirmed and all that's put to bed and he's officially the director. Hopefully, we'll be able to take the training wheels off and put some speed behind some of these changes that they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the big focus, my message, the messaging to the audience was they're taking a very, very strong look at all of the state level restrictions that are trying to supersede the Second Amendment. So that's just, I think that is some of this, the bet is yet to come stuff. So awesome presentations by these guys. If you couldn't make it, they were great. Just know that the Trump administration is totally behind the Second Amendment, even though it's not as loud as it was early on in his campaign. It is still very active and very, very forward moving. Cool. Great guys. Great people to know.
Yep.
Okay, FBI NICS, just a couple updates from their team. They wanted to reiterate great progress actually on it. The stolen gun database is active, very active. If you have any questions about that, call us, give us a ring. Just don't overreact to what you're seeing if it's a partial match. Make sure you're definitely looking at exact matches and looking up details of make, model, serial number if you do get a match before you overreact to a gun being stolen. There's lots of misunderstanding on this whole program, but it's active and it's available to you. And it's great for pawnbrokers too. A lot of pawnbrokers asking, well, if I have leads online, why do I do that? Well, you do that before you ever bring the gun into the acquisition process. You know, way in advance if you're going to get stuck with a stolen gun, lose a loan on a stolen gun, etc. You don't want to do that. All right. They did talk a lot about multi-factor authentication. We're getting a lot of calls on this as well, and I went in and looked at it on our screen. The MFA process. Here's the bottom line. Try to register for it. It's going to lock you out of certain privileges within a month or two of the eNICS platform because there's so much sensitive data in there and access that you have as a user. They want to make sure it's not going to get hacked. It's not going to be misused. So sign up for MFA and you start using a one-time password just like you do on every other website you do. Your banking, your credit cards, your kids' college tuition, anywhere you go, even email now on some of the platforms are asking for a one-time password, or install your passkey on your device, on your computer, on your phone. With firearm handler checks, yes, we're still waiting for this. They promised it, but again, as JC said, this is one of those programs that they have to wait for ATF Director approval and sign off before they actually hit go. So we're anticipating the firearm handler checks, background checks for the employees in the very near future. So stay tuned on that. Lots of great progress from the FBI NICS team. JC, here's your buddy.
There is Mr. Cekada himself, soon to be the ATF director, if all goes well, which everything that occurred on the 3rd looks as though it went really well. The panel he was on was with 3 federal judge nominations, so widely, pretty much bipartisan support. Even a lot of the 2A groups out there don't really see a concern or a problem with them, so that's good. I've known Rob forever. He has moved up in the last 20 years through the ranks of ATF. Prior to that, he was local law enforcement. He was local law enforcement down in Florida, and he was local law enforcement in New York. So, good guy overall. Had a couple of quick conversations with him while it shot because he was getting pulled into 100 different directions. But it was good to catch up with him. I just saw him again just at the end of last year up at ATF headquarters. So not much has changed. We're still waiting on him to get confirmed. We're hoping by the end of the month, if not beginning of March, everything will be put to bed and he'll be in the official position. Very Second Amendment friendly guy, has NFA firearms, has GCA firearms, is just as upset with some of the processes and getting that stuff approved as anybody that's a firearm enthusiast. But he has wide industry and law enforcement support across the spectrum. So, and he is a big proponent of a lot of what James Van and others are trying to do at ATF headquarters in making life easier for us in the FFL community and the industry. So, stay tuned. Good guy. He's going to work really hard for us. He already is as the acting. So, stay tuned, and we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say, hey, thanks to Mallory and Charles and Samuel and David and Danielle and Mike and George and Greg and Judy and Ken and Greg and Melinda and everybody else who tracked us down a SHOT Show to say hi, either in the lounge area or at one of our vendor partner booths. So it was great seeing all of you at SHOT Show, and look forward to another great event next year. So thanks for stopping by. All right, this is where it's gonna feel like a race. All right, not a marathon, but a race, a sprint. All right. So lots of legal state updates. I'm going to go alphabetically. So if your state has something coming either effective and taking effect soon, like in the next few months, 6 months, or pending, we're going to go over it very quickly. If it's a neighboring state, you should have concern. If it's a state you ship to, you should have great concern as well. All right. I'm not getting detailed. Just give me the heads up. And as our restricted states guide gets completed today because of so many new details, it will be available tomorrow on our website under the Forms and Tools page. So again, the restricted states guide will be updated with effective laws and statutes, not something that's pending. We never want to confuse everybody and get you confused. So we just put out there what is required on that guide. So here we go. Gonna start off in wonderful, beautiful California. All right, this is effective Ghost Gun AB 1263, Ghost Guns, illegal firearm manufacturing. So no more ghost guns, no more 3D. We're going to talk about 3D printing in a minute as well. Firearm without a serial number is now a criminal violation. You cannot have them in a gun dealer without being serialized. Long story short, if you're in California, if you're a dealer or a pawnbroker in California, make sure you don't have any unserialized modern firearms. You can have prior to 1968, obviously antique firearms, so classic firearms, but not modern firearms. All right. And that is effective as of January 1st. It's now a criminal violation. Also in California, effective January 1st is firearm barrel sales and fire definitions, Firearms Industry Responsibility Act that took effect on January 1st, SB 704. And this really controls the process by which you can ship firearm parts, barrels, components into California. Now, they were never regulated as firearms prior to January 1st, but they are now, and there's restrictions on shipping, obtaining proof of age, adult signature required for shipments direct to homes. And if you go that way, what you have to ship or not ship to a dealer. So if you're shipping parts, barrels, even all the accessories, I don't have the list in front of me. Check with us, get the details before you sell to customers in California, especially all of you who have online stores. Really, really restrictive, crazy. California AB 1127 is pending or proposed. It's the ban on convertible semi-automatic handguns or firearms that can be converted to machine guns, more commonly known as converting a Glock or using a Glock switch to convert a 9mm to a fully auto handgun. You've seen them all on YouTube or Facebook's shorts of videos. Crazy, crazy, crazy that they even came up with this. But there's more than just Glocks. There's many handguns now that have similar mechanisms that can be converted by implementing a sear, replacing a sear and other metal components inside of the firearm to create a fully automatic firearm. So proposed, and you'll see this in some other states, but this is the new campaign that everyone's using or running with. And in listening to the ATF a couple weeks ago, there are very, very few crimes, if any, where firearms such as this are even found to be involved. So why this is such a big giant issue is kind of mind-boggling that so many states are spending so much time on it, but it obviously is a very visible issue on social media and getting a lot of play from the younger generation, which is kind of crazy. So in and of itself is a crime to manufacture or possess a firearm without being registered. So it's crazy that people are even sharing this on social media. All right, Colorado, here we go. HB 25 1133. This is enacted and approved for July 1st. If you're in Colorado, selling in Colorado, shipping in Colorado, ammunition sale and delivery requirements. There's restrictions now on who you can ship ammo to, sell ammo to, age requirements, asking for ID, proof of age, having ammunition restricted from free access in FFLs in Colorado. So beware that this is a new law. Dig into it if you're doing business with residents of Colorado. The big one for Colorado is SB 25003. We've been talking about this as has the country because it's setting precedent that other states are now trying to follow and implement. But it's a semi-automatic ban on semi-automatic firearms. Unfortunately, it's going to be the majority of semi-automatic firearms magazine fed uh, in all aspects of and formats, handguns, long guns. It's horrible. Gun sales in Colorado have been brisk because leading up to this deadline, everyone's going to get their hands on whatever they can. That's what we're hearing. Uh, Please do your best in managing and monitoring your sales after August 1st into Colorado. You can be held in violation of the law, the state law, and the state attorney generals will come after you. We've heard that. We keep hearing that over and over from the states where these rules are being enacted. All right, very scary. We'll be updating folks on the effective bills as we move closer to the implementation date or the effective dates. We'll be getting more details out in front of you. But since this is January, we want to give you a national overview. Connecticut, HB 504 is a proposed bill prohibits manufacture and sale of convertible pistols. Hey, we just talked about that with California. So again, this is a proposed bill, may take effect, may not. Proposed effective date will be July 1st. We'll keep our eyes on this on as well because it can affect many makes and models and many manufacturers. Hawaii, over in Hawaii. This is actually, if you haven't heard about this was a lawsuit brought about a guy named Wolford, who has sued Lopez, the state attorney general, for a new law that was passed as of January. I'm sorry, it was argued on January 20th. I think it took effect January 1st. Here's the deal. They outlawed or they restricted or made criminal the carrying of firearms, whether you have a concealed carry permit or not, in private premises if it is not posted that it is legal to do so. So if you went to a restaurant and the restaurant owner did not have a sign up that says you may carry your firearm on these premises, it would be a violation of their statute, state statute. If you were in a public park and it wasn't posted that you can have a firearm in a public park, concealed or otherwise, it would be a violation of their statute. So they kind of went 180 and did the complete opposite of the rest of the country, whereby private premises can, if there's a municipal estate code, they can post a sign that says, "Sorry, but we don't allow handguns on these premises." The state of Hawaii did the opposite and said, "You can't have a handgun unless we tell you it's okay." So there's lawsuit. Here's the good news. Department of Justice Hamid Dillon was testified on behalf of the industry in that this is totally unconstitutional. The Supreme Court is reviewing this. Okay, so that is very, very important because the Supreme Court has accepted this and put it on the docket, and they have considered it for a decision, which we should hear in the next month or two or three, as to whether or not the state was violating the Constitution by enacting a law that restricted the rights of the Second Amendment, thereby hopefully yielding a decision in favor of the Second Amendment and that state, and thereby saying states are not allowed or can impose any restrictions that are stricter than the Second Amendment federal law. This is big. Even though it's over in Hawaii and it's a carry permit issue um, in private premises, this can set the precedent for whether or not states can impose the state restrictions that they have in many, many of the states we're mentioning, from Illinois to California to New York to Colorado, and whether or not they can trump basically the Second Amendment as stated in the Gun Control Act. So, or the Second Amendment rather. So that's big. We're going to watch that. We have to see what happens. That's going to be big news. It's not getting a lot of play because no one wants to talk about it except the pro Second Amendment people, because it probably will have some positive yield to the Second Amendment. Okay. All right, Illinois SB 8 is enacted effective January 1st. It was the Safe Storage Act, which now made it a crime for legal gun owners to not secure and prohibit access to the firearms. It's just a conversation piece for gun dealers, but you may have customers coming in or calling about this, and what's the issue? What can they get in trouble? Yes, they can. It's a misdemeanor, and I believe a second or third violation would be a felony. But God forbid somebody's firearm is used to injure or hurt someone, and it was left accessible, especially to a youngster or a juvenile or somebody who was prohibited. That person is going to be in big trouble. So Illinois FFLs, be aware of that. Up in Massachusetts, oh, this one's ugly. Chapter 135, Massachusetts FFLs all know about this. If you're not an FFL in Massachusetts, we just say don't ship to Massachusetts. It is probably one of the most confusing updates we've seen. It's already enacted. It goes into effect April 2nd, but there's 116 pages. I kind of thank you for sending that to me, but I think there's 116 pages of text that you have to go through in Chapter 135 to understand all of the restrictions of what you can and cannot sell and what's restricted and not restricted in Massachusetts now. And there's a roster of long guns or proposed roster of long guns and handguns, just like in California, but now long guns also. Shotguns, types of guns. Massachusetts is just a very ugly state. So again, a lot of folks have been calling us regarding shipping firearms to Massachusetts FFLs. Our best advice is read Chapter 135, reference 135, or call the FFL you're planning to transfer a firearm to. If you're selling it online, make sure it's clear for that FFL in Massachusetts to handle it for you and to do the final transfer. Otherwise, it will get shipped back to you. All right, Maryland, HB 741, another proposed bill. They want firearm dealers and employees to go through required training, exams, and qualifications and pass a test. And the next step in this will be licensing. Well, they have licensing already, but now this is the extra step that Colorado put in place last year that we were involved in. And I got to tell you, it's a pain in the you know what. Employees every year have to take a recertification on safety protocols for working a gun dealer and handling guns and selling guns, as well as getting fingerprinted every 3 years and getting licensed and a background check. So this is really, really hard and ugly. Real constraints on a gun dealers proposed over in Maryland. If you're a gun dealer in Maryland, write your representative and get them to refuse and argue this proposed bill. You don't want this happening in Maryland or anywhere else. All right, Minnesota, 1318. Guess what? You're doing the same thing. All right, firearm purchase training requirement and retention records, record retention. This is for firearm gun owners and purchasers. Not only do you have your permit to purchase already in place, but now Minnesota is trying to do what Colorado has passed, and which takes effect in August. It's that certification which costs, I don't know, $300 to $800 maybe to get. If you want to buy a gun after August 1st in Colorado, you got to go get certified, range tested, pass a quiz, get certified by the county, by the sheriff, get fingerprinted, get background checked, all before you buy a gun. So the same thing is being copied up there in Minnesota. It's a proposed bill. Go fight this with your representatives, write your letters, get in touch with your congressman, and get this thing voted down in Minnesota. or it will be a very hard strain on FFLs. New Mexico, SB 17, advancing. What does advancing means? That means it has a lot of momentum. It's still in process, not enacted, not signed off yet by the governor, but it's pending in the House. It's already passed the Senate of New Mexico, and they want to stop illegal gun trade and extremely dangerous weapons act. Basically, it's going to be a combination of an assault weapon ban and a security measures ban for FFLs, securing your guns, locking them up at night, reporting traces and multiple sales to the state on top of the ATF, minimum ages for employment at a gun deal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The assault weapon ban is going to greatly impact your sales there as well. So again, advancing quickly. If you've got any friends in high places, write your letters, get on the phone, lobby for denial of this and refusal of this bill taking place in New Mexico. It's all these blue states, guys. You probably figured that out on that already. But if you're shipping to, selling to, or have visitors in your neck of the woods from these states, you're going to have to know all of these different rules and regulations if, in fact, they are enacted and passed. So big heads up on all of this. New York, S227A, they're proposing to prevent 3D printing of firearms. Obviously, again, it's not a big issue. ATF and FBI say they don't find many ghost guns or 3D printed guns involved in any crimes at all. Yet this seems to be a big soapbox speech for the politicians. Here we are back to Oregon, moving through the alphabet. Oregon, Measure 114. We've been hearing about this for a couple of years, still in litigation, still delayed, no movement, but still has a lot of attention. Okay, we're just giving you an update. Measure 114, not enacted. Effective was delayed to March 15, 2026. Let's see what happens if there's extended delays. We'll keep our eyes on this. If anything happens between now and March 15th, we will certainly push our notes out to the Oregon FFLs and notify you guys. Oregon, again, House Bill 4145. This was the other Measure 114, I believe, was the Senate. This is the House. They're just duplicating the legislation that was stalled according to the judicial process that was passed and installed and stayed. Now they just reintroduced it to get it passed again under a new bill so that it has to go through that entire process again. And they're going to try to get this one passed. Again, everything in Measure 114 with some steroids thrown in. They're talking about everything we've been talking about with the other states, certification to buy and get a permit to purchase and training and requirements. It's just an ugly, ugly process. But again, we're hoping the DOJ, we're hoping the Todd Blanche's office makes some headway with this Hawaii case to deem state regulations unenforceable and unconstitutional. That's a whole lot of wheels turning here, right? Pennsylvania, this is a proposed action, House Bill 2126, creates firearm eligibility licensing with training requirements. Oh my God, did we just hear about this in the other states? All the blue governors are just copying and pasting the requirements to have somebody go through training, certification, background checks, and spend a lot of money just to purchase a firearm. Okay. Rhode Island has signed effectively assault weapon ban H5436 and Senate 0359. These are in place effective July 1st. There's an assault weapon ban for Rhode Island. Again, the details can be read online or referenced on our website later. Same thing with what Vermont was proposing and New Mexico is proposing. Colorado's already done. If you want your semi-automatic firearm in Rhode Island, you better buy it before July 1st. And if you're gun dealers, FFLs in Rhode Island, stock up now, sell as much as you can before July 1st because sales will come to a screeching halt. Virginia SB 749, again, advancing with lots of progressive momentum with the new governor of Virginia. This is very ugly. She's trying to get an assault firearms and magazine restriction law passed. She has a lot of momentum, complete opposite of the prior governor, who was 2A friendly and supportive. This is going to criminalize basically all semi-automatic firearms. The definition is very general and broad. I'm sure there's going to be more definition to it as it gets more momentum and addendums to it. I mean, right off the bat, it's going to be a misdemeanor, right? Not a warning, not a violation, misdemeanor to possess and or try to sell semi-automatic firearms in Virginia if this passes. We don't have any type of dates proposed. It all has to go further through the process to have more concrete effective dates. But Virginia, get ready. You got some ugly stuff coming your way, but nothing yet. House Bill 217 in Virginia as well, the assault firearms restrictions. We had lawsuits where there was a couple of folks, young males over 18, under 21, who actually won a lawsuit to purchase firearms in Virginia, handguns rather, in Virginia, and that was earth shaking about 2 years, about 18 months ago. And now the governor is trying to put a new law in place that says no, at the state level they can't. Although the federal lawsuit was actually won, the new state law will just put it firmly in place, and no one under 21 can have a handgun. So, and I believe some of the text is long gun, including long guns and certain types of long guns as well. So it's going to get really ugly in Virginia. Again, we'll keep you updated. We are going to watch this closely because they are moving fast. Up in Vermont, proposed would prohibit possession of semi-automatic assault weapons. Hey, wait a minute. I think I've said that 5 times in the last 20 minutes. Yeah, Vermont is trying to do the same thing Rhode Island just did. So again, Vermont FFLs, keep an eye on this one to alert your customers, alert yourselves. If this goes anywhere, it's gonna get ugly. Massachusetts, Vermont. I mean, who's next? New Hampshire. Keep an eye on this. If you got friends in high places, lobby, call, send emails. We don't need any of these laws passed in any new states. And finally, we're down to Washington. You guys are as bad as Colorado and California. House Bill 1163, permit to purchase, is enacted. But the nice thing is it doesn't take effect until 2027, almost about 15 months out, I guess. But yeah, everything we're doing in Colorado, you're going to have to do in Washington State. So it's almost copy, rinse, repeat. Permit to purchase, certification, fingerprinting, background checks prior to ever receiving a permit to purchase a firearm, and then go into a dealer and have that whole process take place again. How much is it going to cost, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is all in the works. So we don't know all the details on this program, but I know it's going to be ugly. So a lot of work for the firearm buyer and also a lot of work for the FFL. So stay tuned. We will give you more as we get deeper into that and get the details. House Bill 1386 proposed in Washington, new tax on firearm parts and ammunition. Yes, we did this in Colorado last April. Yes, it's just a copy and implementation of the new tax to deter, I guess, Colorado residents from buying ammo and ammunition or from companies shipping guns and ammunition into Colorado. So Washington's copying that and it's proposed. So if this goes any further, we'll get more details for you, but it's a real pain in the you know what, not only collecting the tax and then reporting the tax monthly and registering for the tax permit. It's just all programs to prevent you from being in industry and being in this industry and making money as a business owner. Last proposed, I think so, yeah, last proposed one is House Bill 2321. Again, outlawing 3D printers in the state of Washington that can allegedly print ghost guns, 3D print ghost guns. So we're probably going to see this rule proposed or this law proposed in all of the other states that are primarily blue and haven't proposed it yet. This is just going to be a copy and repeat type of thing just to sound good for the voters. Wow. JC,
Yeah.
that's some ATF inspection stuff.
Yeah. So, as with everything, we talk about these over and over again, and these are those 4473 violations that just keep rearing their ugly head. So let's make sure that you're, keeping an eye on things. I can't emphasize enough that double check, the double check of the firearm before you let it go out the door, the double check of the 4473 and the background check process, just to make sure. JB just went over a lot of states, and a lot of states are enacting these wait periods and such, and we keep seeing firearms being transferred prior to the wait period being extinguished. So pay attention to what's going on out there. Pay attention to your transactions, your transfers. And when you don't know the answer to something, don't be afraid to pick up the phone, call, or text us so we can help you through the transaction before you make a mistake that we have to undo after the fact, because that's really not optimal. It's still a citable violation. So just make sure you're looking out for these. These are some pretty big violations that negatively influence public safety and will create a scenario where potentially some adverse action is taken against your license. So please, if you don't understand how to do something, you're not doing those military transfers that often, you're not doing those out-of-state transfers that often, non-immigrant aliens, those type of transactions, pick up the phone, call us, and we can walk you through it, or we can send you over an SOP to follow in order to execute those transactions. Best practices, I just talked about it. The double check is it, man. That double checking that firearm to your bound book and to the 4473 and back to the firearm itself is key. Make sure you're tightening up your compliance programs. The thing I probably should have mentioned earlier when JB was talking about all these changes that are coming down, just because a state's regulations are changing, doesn't mean the ATF isn't looking at that state aspect of it and can not cite you for you violating state law. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And again, a lot of these changes that we're seeing from the ATF are all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, until there is legislation passed and signed into law that prevents the ATF from coming in and going after the zero tolerance thing again, till that happens, we may still be susceptible, no matter how many knots they tie in the rope, to try to strangle any opportunities or attempts to go back to zero tolerance. At some point, it may happen. And if it does, we're going to have to be, aware of that and ensure that we are 100% compliant all the time. So make sure you're taking advantage of all these things over the last decade that JB and our team has worked on to give you better visibility to information that the ATF uses to inspect you, such as your NICS print detail report or utilizing your invoices from your point of contact state to verify control numbers that were issued to you, things of that nature. All these different things that you should be paying attention to ensure your compliance. In the end, it's your responsibility.
Yeah, just guys, invest the time. I mean, we can't reiterate that enough. While we've been on this webinar, I've got three, I don't know what's happening. We got three FFLs. We talked to a lot of FFLs that have inspections starting today. So we got Texas, we got Pennsylvania, and we've got Oregon. So they're out and about. Things are not slowing down as far as the inspection process goes. And that's why we always say, get it right the first time, right? That's our goal. We've been saying that for years. Because this adverse action program, meaning one, violation, report of violations if you had a bad inspection, warning letter, warning conference, revocation, that has not changed, will not change. And that was our conversation with ATF as well. And they wanted us to reiterate to you in our meeting, a lot has changed and we're going to feel really good. And the ATF wants to come across as very positive, but the Gun Control Act is the Gun Control Act. Your requirements as a gun dealer have not changed. The whole zero tolerance thing, a blip. It was a crazy, crazy thing that somehow got in the way of life. But the program is still the same, isn't getting any less from where I was before Biden. So revocations have occurred throughout history, just not in a way under Biden, but we don't want you in that unfortunate mousetrap. So stay alert, invest the time. Get it right the first time. Hey, this is our poster, backroom poster, training poster. Grab it off our website under forms and tools. Show all the things you and your team need to be aware of all the time. All right, we're gonna play some true or false real quick. JC, are you ready?
I've got the box.
All right, fellas and ladies and gentlemen, it's real easy. If you've never done this, you just type T for true or false for F for false in your chat box, and let's see how many of you are smart enough to pass the test. Ready? Here we go.
Hmm.
An FFL must log a firearm into the A&D book by the close of the next business day after receiving it, even if the gun is defective, being returned, or won't be sold. True or false?
Getting a ton of trues. Getting a ton of trues.
All right, let's go. All right, for the sake of time, we're going to run through these fast. Yes, if you said true, you are correct. All right. Um, and again, if you have questions about anything we're going through here, if you put false and it's true or true and false, just put a question in the chat room and we'll get to it during the Q&A session shortly. If you don't know why an answer is an answer. All right, next, the denied NICS response must be reported to local law enforcement in every state because ATF requires immediate notification of a denial.
Lots of falses.
True or false?
Lots of falses.
All right, false.
Tons of falses. Good job. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. If you're in Virginia, this is a true, but all other states are false. All right.
Yep.
If a customer initiates a Form 4473 and then walks away without buying the firearm, but does do the background check, the FFL must still retain the incomplete FF 4473 forever.
Getting
If
a
it's
lot of
listed,
trues.
all right. Yes, it's true.
Yep. There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah, if you got a control number in box 27B, you need to keep the form no matter what. When a customer buys one handgun and then 4 days later, I'm sorry, when a customer buys one handgun 4 days after buying two previous handguns, let's assume a 3310.4 was sent in, on the two previous handguns. Then all three handguns must be listed on the new multiple handgun form being reported.
This was the big trick question, and we're getting a ton of trues. We're getting a ton of trues. That's
Okay,
actually false.
well, let's go again. If
Yeah.
someone bought two handguns 4 days ago and you submitted a 3310.4 and they buy another handgun today, you have to fill out a new 3310.4, but do you list all three
No.
guns today or no?
You do not list all three guns. You list the final gun and you select the box and reference the other 3310.4.
Yeah, box 2C.
Yep.
In box 2C, you say, hey, wait a minute, I sent a form in 3 days ago. And on today's form, you only list one gun because you already reported the other two. All right. A straw purchase occurs when someone buys a gun with their own money but intends to immediately resell it privately for a profit. Is that a straw purchase? True or false?
Mixed, a little bit of a mixed bag. Trues and falses. True. You'll understand that a straw purchase occurs when someone buys a gun. If they're telling you or demonstrating to you that in some way, shape, or form, or even if they gave you a blatant comment, that's engaged in the business and potentially a straw purchase that you need to shut down immediately. You do not want to be the middleman caught in this.
Yeah. And they can't answer 21A on the 4473 yes if they're intending to sell the gun after they buy it from you. That's a felony right there. So, and again, this is information you have to glean from your conversation during qualification of the firearm transfer. So, why do you want it and what are you going to do with it? Get the story. If a firearm is lost, stolen, or missing from inventory, the FFL has 48 hours to file an ATF Form 3310.11. True or false?
We're getting a lot of trues on that one.
All right. All right. And then whenever you run into those situations, give us a call. We have a couple guides to send you regarding how to look for and research and find that firearm before you report it to the ATF. For an out-of-state consignment firearm, trick question here, guys. For an out-of-state consignment firearm, an FFL may place the gun in their display case without first entering that firearm into the acquisition portion of the A&D book. True or false?
Um,
Oh, they got it.
Lots of falses.
All right. Tried
I
to
think
trick
it's like
you.
false, false, false.
All right, good going. All right, final question. I think we get more. An FFL may ship a firearm directly back to the same customer without a 4473 if the firearm was sent in for repair and the customer remains the legal owner.
Hmm. Oh, a couple falses in there, but lots of trues. Yep, you may ship a firearm directly back to a customer. If it's a service or warranty related matter, you can receive, they can ship you a firearm. Granted, mailability is going to be a bit challenging for a non-licensee, but they can most certainly ship it direct to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer can ship it directly back to them.
Yep.
Now, obviously, there are some state laws that restrict that, but for the most part, that is completely legal.
There you go. All right, that's a good job in true or false. Hey, we just want to thank our one of our partners and highlight that Coreware has a platform available for your entire FFL business, just not bound book, just not FF 4473. They do marketing, POS, inventory management, use social media. I mean, everything runs right through the platform, accounting, et cetera, et cetera. If you're interested in upgrading or changing, Coreware is one of our preferred partners. And we thank Joel and Ezra and Tony and everyone out there at Coreware at Shot Show for helping us spread the good word. So great event, good products, and if you've got any questions, give us a ring, and we'll help you understand where to go next on your POS and your FFL platform software. Okay. Hey, great news. This has been long coming. I mean, I can't thank JP. JP's on. He's on man behind the scenes in the background, quietly making stuff happen for you guys. FFL Consultants has relaunched. We're very excited. Relaunched on February 1st. We are live. First of all, just to clarify a little more on the whole NSSF departure, on the left side of your screen is everything we still do, have done, and will continue to do. We're not taking our foot off the pedal. We feel like we have great programs with lots of great partners out there, like all you guys, and hundreds more. We actually have 8,000 of you in our mailing list. A lot of you watch our replays, but here's the long story short. We are independent now. The other guys can't do what we do. They don't have they only let members glean off the knowledge and insights. They don't take calls from you. They have no state compliance. They don't answer the phone or text. They charge lots and lots of money for the stuff they do. Many of them won't talk to you before you pay money and kind of sign an agreement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of confusion. We've spent a lot of time since November explaining to all of you, hopefully, that we are independent. We cannot service NSSF members in the same way we did before. If you want NSSF support, you have to call their hotline and contact the membership team. So good luck with that, and call us if you need us. But here's our new FFL launch website relaunch. We're very excited. Here's the homepage, just a sample, just a view. We actually would love for you to go out to fflconsultants.com, check out the webpage, start clicking through it, start checking it out, see what's there. It's easy. The tabs along the top of the page kind of get you where you want to go. Also, if you go down through the page, it has other ways to navigate through the site. Here's the cool stuff about it. If you did sign up for a VIP service, this is huge. We love you guys. It makes it all worthwhile for us. But in the VIP area, you're going to have access to explainer guides, which are really downloadable PDFs covering hundreds and hundreds of topics. Cheat sheets, guides, SOPs are in there. We are building and loading this site this week and next week. We already started, but we're not ready to open it to you yet. But if you're a VIP, you will get information shortly this week about that. There's going to be video training. All of our short videos are going to be in there. Little snippets on 5 minutes of this, 5 minutes of that, 3 minutes of that, how to do this. So easy training and reference for your employees and your staff and you. Standard operating procedures JC has already talked about. This is all part of your VIP access. Don't have to pay any extra fees. All the ATF forms and FBI guides and forms, NICS, all in one place. You don't have to go searching or Googling or trying to figure out on atf.gov where anything is. We're going to make sure all of the updated forms are here for your access very quickly. The VIP members, just know this week you're going to get from probably me or from our website platform. Just a click through, just a click on the terms and conditions so you understand exactly our relationship agreement, confidentiality, that type of thing, just so we have the agreement in place. We couldn't get that into the process you already went through to join VIP, so this is kind of a PS to that part. You'll get more program details. You'll get updates on we're going to be holding a deep dive Q&A just for members each month that gets real down and dirty, nitty gritty onto some of the issues out there with being an FFL. Talk confidentially, not recorded. It'll be join a group chat, come in, and get your questions answered. And the real challenges that we can dig into for you. Special pricing for other projects, visits, things like that. If you need us to come out, if you got a bad inspection, you need some training, obviously there'll be additional pricing available to you for those products. And then just a note, some of you said your credit card invoice is coming through as either Highlands Ranch Company or JB Group DBA FFLC, that's FFL Consultants. Yes, we're owned by JB Group. So any of that, as long as it references Highlands Ranch, FFLC, it's from us. We'll try to get that all unified to be universal billing for you on your credit card statements. But all of you, anybody watching this video, anybody joining us today, we're going to be setting up what we call Friday FFL Facts newsletter. It's not going to be every Friday, but when we have stuff to tell you, things you need to know about, maybe what's new on the website, what new tools are available to you, what's new in the VIP area. You don't have to go checking the website all the time. As we progress with developing the site over the next few months, when the time is required on Friday mornings, we'll send it out to you so you have a quick, easy email to know what's going on, especially with FFL, with ATF alerts and updates, and new 4473 or new rulings or new progressive programs that we've mentioned. Maybe some state decisions on some of these bills that we're talking about. So rather than send you ad hoc emails, we're going to try to make it a Friday morning thing. And also what's new in the FFLC Academy. FFLC Academy is moving from where it is today into our website. You'll be able to get it right through to just go into our website. And we're working on the bound book course right now. So hopefully that's going to be out by the end of the month, how to properly complete your bound book. If you are a VIP and you click into the explainer guides, it's going to look something like this. It's very simply an index of everything we'll have available to you by category. This is just a very, very small sample that we built this week. This is going to turn into 135 different documents, I believe, all in different categories by topic, easy to search and find, easy to reference, easy to download, and to pop into your training manuals or to use for training new employees. Now, the same type of index is going to be is created but not live yet for our videos. Again, if you're a VIP member, you'll go right into these areas, get easy access to all the video training on all the various topics. Probably, I think we get about between 60 and 70 little videos already. We're ready to push out to you guys and make available. So cool stuff. If you're not a VIP already, just go to our pricing page. The program's all available there right now. For VIPs, actually, there'll be another pricing page next week for the other products and like site visits, range inspections, stuff like that. Maybe you have a bad ATF inspection. Maybe you need on-site coaching, counseling, or an audit. That pricing will be available also from the website very soon. But there is a pricing page for VIP membership if you want any information there. And so JP, we got just another John. JP is out there doing all this work behind the scenes. Thank you very much for all the progress and advancements you've been able to make with us on this project. Restricted states guide, like I said, with everything we went over today, we just had a little extra fine tuning. We didn't want to publish it today. It'll be out for tomorrow morning. You can grab that right off our website. The date, it'll be a February 10th revision. Grab it off our forms and tools page off of FFL Consultants. Again, that'll be available to you tomorrow morning. Another training guide, very simple. Critical violations downloaded off the website under forms and tools. Still available to you. Post it in your back room. Use it during your training. It's still the 11 things you do not want to do to avoid a revocation. JC, NBS tomorrow, right?
I will be there tomorrow afternoon, booth 457,
There you
right
go.
beside Jameson at Fastbound.
Go see JC at the at MBS. He'll be in the booth with Jameson from Fastbound, another one of our preferred partners. Another great product platform we recommend. We're also traveling to these great cities between now and mid-March. So if you're an FFL, got some issues, got some problems, give us a call. We can try to stop in. Other than that, call us anytime. Again, there's our academy. We'll soon be moving this over right into FFLconsultants.com. In fact, if you go to our main website and just click on FFLC Academy at the top of the page, you'll be brought in here, but we're moving everything over to the other website over the next month or two. So again, I don't know, we're way over 10,000 courses completed, tests taken, employees trained. Very proud of that part. And again, we're adding the bound book course to that very soon. Got questions, need support, call us anytime. Your first call is always free. You know that. We've been promoting that for about 10 years now. Don't ask us how much it costs when you call with a question because we're just here to help you. First call is always free. JC, it's that time.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. This is where we get into rapid fire FAQs. I know some of you have already typed into the chat box your questions. If you still got questions, type those in. We're going to get to those right now, and we're going to answer them in the order presented. JC, take a deep breath and tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready, my friend. I'm ready. Let's
Oh,
go.
wow. Okay. I think the first one, well, first of all, I want to comment. I want to thank ES. Don't know where you're from, ES. He said they did misspell amendment in the second paragraph of the hoax document.
Mm.
Nice catch. But anyway, almost perfect. All right. Robbie says, a little long here, JC.
You got money order anyways.
If we received a pistol with a Glock 19 slide that is stamped Austria, with the frame that has an image of Donald Trump in gold coloring on the frame, is this going to be a problem when an IOI shows up and questions why there's only a serial number on the frame? Why there is only a serial number on the frame? Our local auditor stressed the need for the manufacturer information on the frame receiver, and if that was obliterated, they consider that as an obliterated serial number.
No,
This
they
was
don't.
done professionally, unlike others. So I guess it was a coding issue.
Yeah. So look, if a manufacturer is taking whatever firearm, we'll use the Glock 19 mentioned, and remanufacturing that or enhancing its value in any way, then that firearm needs to be marked. An obliterated serial number is completely different, but they should not be in any way marring or removing any of those markings. Now, the Glock 19 has been in production for quite some time, and there is a ruling out there that does require that the markings are on the frame itself, and that's 2021 R-05F. That's still in existence. They want the frame marked with all the required markings. But if it was a firearm previously in production, it can continue to be marked as it has been. That's right in the ruling. Now, whoever remanufactured this firearm, they should have, they can adopt the serial number, but they should have marked that with their markings as the remanufacturer. If that's not the case, you should contact them and let them know that there are requirements for that. Is the ATF going to ding you on that? No, because you're not the remanufacturer. They may, browbeat you a little bit for it, but if that happens, give us a call. We'll make some phone calls and make that problem go away very quickly. So they should be remarking it though with their manufacturing stamp.
Yeah. Well, I think the question also is the original Glock information also, right?
Eh, you know, it's a gray area at best. The fact of the matter is the remanufacturer is the one that's important.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next, did ATF redefine what an unlawful user is? And if so, when does that take effect?
There is
marijuana.
an interim final rule that has been posted on the Federal Register. It was posted at the end of last month. End of last month. It did redefine what a unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance, how it's defined. That is out on the Federal Register for 60 days. It will go into effect, I believe it's out there until June 30th. So, you know, you can make comments on it. Right now, it's an interim fire rule. Once it is done, once it's gone through the comment period, it'll become the final rule. So, for now, the definition changes a little bit. What constitutes an unlawful user? Isolated or sporadic use or ceasing regular unlawful use does not meet the definition. Now, isolated or sporadic use. You know, we're cutting hairs here. Our rule of thumb, generally speaking, is the individual is not intelligent enough not to know to present their medical marijuana card as ID. Our rule of thumb is if they surrender that to whatever regulatory body the state has for that, and they are not a user for a 1 year period, then they are no longer an unlawful user or addicted. The same holds true. Now, we're seeing a little bit of the comments and such that are pouring in around this for ATF to be more specific on what does it mean to be isolated or sporadic user. Does that mean somebody uses once a month and that's it, or what the case may be? So let's hang tight. It's an interim final rule. I don't want anybody to jump the gun. If somebody admits to being an unlawful user for the time period, we'll see where this thing goes once June 30th rolls around and we know exactly how they're going to define things. I do know that people are asking for a little bit more clearer definition. So that's the best we have for right now. So hang tight. You know, I've always had the golden rule where this is concerned is that if they're dumb enough to admit it, then they're not smart enough to own a gun. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we heard that this will be addressed in the new 4473, hopefully.
It will as well, yeah. So even more changes to the 4473 that we took a look at, oh my God, months ago now.
Yeah, we didn't spend time on that, guys, but yeah, the new 4473 is a new 4473.
Yeah, it's a new headache.
Nothing like the old one. All right, Langford says he was for Colorado FFLs. He was on a call this morning with Parks and Recreation. The SSF specified semi-automatic firearms list is not yet posted on the Department of Revenue site. They didn't know exactly when it would be posted. They had no idea how much hunter training will cost, et cetera. And before JC answers, I'm just saying that we're hearing this. This happens in every state where they put the cart before the horse.
Yeah. So I will tell you the Department of Revenue Firearm Dealer Division is working on the list. They will have something published prior to the drop dead date in August. Just hang tight. They're working diligently on putting everything together so that the industry is educated on what is and what is not that semi-automatic firearm. Or gas-operated semi-automatic firearm, rather. So just hang tight. It is being worked on. They're doing their diligence. So as we hear more, and we're in constant communication with the leadership over at the Firearms Dealer Division, they're very good about getting back to us and communicating with us. So we're definitely in the know as to where things stand. So just hang tight. We'll be putting out communication on this. There's a lot more happening in Colorado, unfortunately. And we're right in the middle of it. So as soon as we know more, we'll let you know.
Yep. All right. 2 thumbs up to Walter up in Minnesota. Says we're fighting SB 17 hard here in New Mexico. I'm sorry, New Mexico, not Minnesota. Yeah, wherever you are, whatever state you're on, make sure you get your politician friends involved in fighting and whatever you can do to lobby against these restrictions. Scott says, if someone was issued a special number from the ATF to purchase firearms but lost a letter, where can he get a new one and who should he contact?
So I asked him if he was talking about the UPIN. You can recover, or an individual can recover their UPIN information by contacting NICS customer service. It's a little bit of a process, but not too bad. If they have access to the VAF system, if they have a username and password, when they actually went through the process, they can also log into there and see if the information is still available. But the quickest way is NICS customer service.
Hello, Mallory. Mallory says, about how long does it take an IOI to come back for the final conference after an inspection?
Oh, well, they're pushed very hard to do it in a timely manner. If you have a specific situation where if it's been weeks, I'm not too concerned. If it's been months, then I'm wondering what's going on that it's taking them that long. So you might want to give us a call. Let us know what you've heard, what you've seen, what questions they were asking, things of that nature, and we can certainly have that conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Who's that Mallory?
What's
Is
that?
that Mal?
Yeah,
Mallory?
yeah, we met Mallory at
Yeah, is that Elite Gun and
Yeah.
Harm? Oh,
Yeah.
Mallory, I'm all over your situation.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping and discussing that with us. All right. Marcia says, on adding a firearm bound book by the next business day, if the commercial invoice has all the required information and is kept separate from the firearms, does that time frame change to 1 week, 7 days?
As long as the commercial paperwork has all of the required information that is required to fulfill the requirements of acquiring the firearm into a bound book. In other words, it has the manufacturer, importer, model, caliber, type, serial number, all the attributes that are required to be input into the acquisition record. Yes, there is an exception for 7 days, but you have to have all that information, keeping in mind that it is the exception to the rule. So we really don't like the exceptions. We want guns to be processed and acquired timely, because God forbid somebody breaks in and you didn't acquire that firearm. Now you may not have that proof of that firearm after all. So, but yes, that is the exception.
Yep. Tyler's asking, I've been struggling to log into the VIP section under the new website, and the answer is yes. By the end of this week, Tyler, we hope to have that all straightened out and regulated so you can gain easy access in there. Like I said in the presentation, that area will grow and grow and grow week by week by week as we reformat and log everything into the library, as we say, whether it be a PDF or a video. So thanks, Tyler, for asking that again.
We moved over to a new host and a new platform. The old platform just was not commensurate with what we needed, and it was a struggle all the way through. So this is a big leap that JB and JP have been going through.
All right. Bill's asking, Final Rule 2025 R-54 TJC.
I think I already explained that one. That one is the, whatchamacallit, definition of unlawful user.
Okay.
I already covered that. But Bill, if you have more questions on that, type them in and I'll answer them, or you can reach out to me directly.
All right, JC, no idea why or how they're being described. Oh yeah, we're taking care of that billing issue, guys. Like I explained, thank you for the update on that, or the notification on that. Oh yeah, it should clearly say something like FFLZ VIP monthly or VIP monthly on your VIP membership. Okay, make it hard. And again, that's cancel anytime, guys. So just stick with us as long as you need to. In New York State, we must complete a background check on muzzle loaders. Is it necessary to complete a 4473 and log it in and out of our A&D books?
We must complete a background check on muzzle loaders. Is it necessary?
Yes. So the answer is, yeah. If you have if your state considers muzzle loaders a firearm, then you have to treat it as a firearm.
Yeah. And if you're running a background check, keep in mind, the ATF is going to walk in with those control numbers issued by the state or your NTNs issued by NICS, and you have to account for those. So that is the reason why you need to put it in your bound book and complete a 4473. And JB, you missed Ellis's question.
Yeah, I'll go to that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Ellis says, I use FastBound. If I miss a day or two from downloading my bound book, will that be a violation with ATF?
Look, you're supposed to maintain a copy of it every day. So, would it be a violation? It depends on if it would even be caught. I mean, if the ATF comes in today and you just did a download, then that's your current download. So, is it a violation? Yeah, you technically are violating the regulation. You really need to make sure you're maintaining those backup copies, and we recommend 3 backups. So, um, one local, obviously, in the event, God forbid, something happens, and then 2 cloud backups,
Yep.
separate from one another.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great question.
Yep.
The other one on
Really good question.
black powder. So many guns in states now regulating black powder, different types of muzzle loaders.
Yep.
So our guide talks to all of those. That was one of the
Yep.
issues we had to do a review on last week. So
Yeah.
a lot of different traditions, and others are
Black
now.
powder has become very popular because of the additional hunting season.
Yeah.
So.
And then the fire plug, I think it is the rear. The
breech.
Yeah, where you're loading the it's not separated. It's a fire plug they put in there. Anyway, we'll put information in there. But hey, thank you guys. I think that's all the questions. Oh, nitro fire. Yeah, the nitro fire. There you go. Those are all regulated now because of the way they load, and can be loaded with a shotgun shell if some stupid person really wants to do that. But all right, again, VIP area will be up and running later this week. We will send a note out when that is valid, so don't go and keep trying it. We'll let everybody know who's a VIP that it is turned on. You'll get some other notes as to terms and conditions and your access instructions. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you in March, probably mid-March sometime. We don't have a date yet, but call us if you need us.
Yeah, if we didn't hit anything, you can hit us up directly via text, call, or email. And if you're interested in more information regarding what's changed as far as our support services and our engagement and interaction with NSSF, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk you through that. I've pulled together a couple documents, kind of explained everything to our NSSF members. Have a great week. And for those of you going to NBS, see you there.